Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another live stream where we do sorry, my headphones are just bothering me. Do another 20 question mock test and a hazard perception demonstration and answer any questions, and I do mean any questions that you may have about your theory training and driving lessons or upcoming driving tests. I will answer those. But please put a Q semicolon in front of the question. Just makes it a lot easier for me to see. Otherwise, it just looks like a comment and I may skip over it by mistake. Not deliberately, just by mistakes. So let me just get my screen up so I can see your comments. Right, just make sure we are going out live. YouTube's not messed up. Right, so come out of that. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the decent weather we are having. Sparkers, I've not seen your name before, I don't think, so welcome. I'm just wanting to say thank you for videos and live streams. You passed your theory test on the second try. Thank you so much. You are welcome, and thank you for coming to the session and letting us know how you got on. I appreciate that. So what are you going to do now? You've passed it. So what are you going to do now? You're looking to book a driving test, take driving lessons. Are you taking driving lessons? How far down the line are you with the driving lessons if you're doing that? But well done for passing though. You're well on your way now. Fresh Faith, good morning to you. Welcome. I've not seen your name before, definitely. I can't pronounce that. But good morning to you and welcome to the live sessions. Or the live session. Right. I'm going to dive straight into the overview. I know it's Bank Holiday weekend. You guys probably want to get on with your day and the rest of the weekend. So let's dive into... Sorry, this screen is so wide. I'm going to just have to shut this down. Oops. I can reduce this a second. It's massive. And it won't allow me to reduce it. I just have to fight for it. It's really weird. All right, sorry. Right, let me go straight into the overview, not waste any time. So your theory test is 14 categories. Your questions are made up. 50 questions made up of 14 different categories. I will suggest that you do and study all 14 categories. I did do a video this week, which was released on Thursday, I think, explaining why you shouldn't be doing mock tests after mock tests, which the reason why I did that video because it's becoming obvious the more people are emailing in, failing. Even in my study camp, and in that video I used live data from one of the students, and his comment in the study camp, even though they're told not to, they do mock test after mock test after mock test. That's not the best way to prepare for a theory test. Why? Because you're starting to memorize answers, you're starting to memorize questions, and that's the downside. Because when you go, just in case, because some of you that are new here, I've not seen the names before, the app questions are not the same questions on the real test. The app questions are sample questions. They're giving you tasters so you understand what the DVSA are looking for. Some of you are studying that as religious, as to say, right, I need to know that, memorize it, know the answers this, and hopefully when you go for the real test, you get 50 questions that look familiar to you. There's going to be questions that you've never seen before either. You need to understand it. If you don't understand it, the chances are you're going to fail it. So you need to understand that app questions are sample questions. There will be some questions on the real test that you have never seen before, and the 50 questions are random. So if there's 10 of you in the room, it's 10 different set of 50 questions. It's not the same questions for everybody. So if your friend took it yesterday, as much as you can ask your friend, what question did you get? It doesn't mean that you're going to get the same questions. That's the reason why. Time-wise, you've got 57 minutes, which if you studied is more than enough time, and you should be using the time. I'm not saying you've got to use all 57 minutes, but some of you are doing it in 15, 20 minutes and emailing me to say, I did the test, failed. When I asked you how long it took, 15, 20 minutes. For you to do it in 15, 20 minutes and get a positive result is slim. Why? Because you need to look for clues. You need to break down the question, look for what they're asking for. That takes more than 15, 20 minutes. Once you've done the questions, you move on to the hazard perception, which is 14 videos. 13 of them have single hazards. One of them's got a double, can score a maximum of 10. You need to average 3 per video when this is finished. If your average is below 3, you are going to fail. I should have said on the 50 questions, you need 43 to pass that. On the hazard perception, you need 44 out of 75. I will do a demonstration at the end as usual, because that's still a massive struggling point for most people, which if you got the choice between the 50 questions and the hazard perception is the easiest bit, because once you know what a hazard is, it's the same for all the videos. Different hazards, but a hazard is a hazard, where a question, you don't know what question you're going to get. So that's a different thing. In terms of answers, it's going to be use some common sense. I had the student, there was a question, I can't remember what the question was in the study camp, and she didn't know what the question was asking. So she took a guess at the answer, which is fine. If you don't know what the question's asking, you have to pick an answer to move on anyway, so that's fine. But there's guessing and there's guessing, a calculated guess as opposed to guessing. She picked using a mobile phone. You know you can't use a mobile phone while the car's in motion, so that would never be an answer you should be guessing for. And this is what I'm talking about, common sense. So if you know you can't use a mobile phone, then why are you picking a mobile phone as an answer? And I repeat, that's what I'm trying to say about common sense. If you don't know what the question's asking, use some common sense. Mobile phone is, well, I'll say never. There is a question that you can use a mobile phone, but in this situation, it's never going to be a mobile phone. So you're picking an answer that could never be correct. But what they're looking for overall is safety. Your answer has to lead to safety, because your driving test is about safety control from the examiner's point of view. The theory test is no different. And if it's not a safe answer, it's going to be a controlled outcome, which is normally your first aid and motorway type questions. With that, if you do struggle with your theory, because I've got a lot of sign-ups this week in the course because people are struggling massively. I run a 30-day study camp. As much as it's 30 days, you stay in there as long as it takes for you to pass. One-time fee, and you stay in there as long as you pass. The reason why it's called 30 days, because 30 days is the sweet spot. Once you start studying longer than 30 days on a regular basis, you start to repeat the questions in the apps, and then obviously it becomes familiar, and that's where memorization takes place. When I say you guys are memorizing answers, sometimes it's not deliberate, it's just the way the brain works. If it sees something long enough, often enough, it just remembers it, and that's what you don't want to be doing, spending 2 months, 3 months studying a theory, and then, like I said, you just get to recognize all the questions, all the answers. Even some cases, hazard perception, you guys just know where the hazard is, and that becomes a problem. I've seen that in the study camp where people just clicks once per video because they know exactly where the hazard is. That's a dangerous game to be playing with that. All right, let me go back to the comments quickly, and then we will do the mock test. We'd like it to. Yeah, I think Jay. Good morning to you. Why have the questions changed on the mock test? Because I passed 2 years ago. I'm assuming that it seems harder because I'm not able to pass. The mock test or the theory test, I won't say mock test, the theory test gets updated every 2 years. Every 2 years they release new questions because driving changes, new laws come in. And what they do, they tend to collect stats from the theory test, driving, accidents, blah, blah, blah. And they start to bring those type of questions into the theory test, and stuff that's not relevant, they take out. So, for example, if you've done your test 2 years ago, what you'll find in the test since then will be ADAS questions, advanced driver assistance system questions, and now they're starting to talk about first aid a lot more, the defibrillator, AED. So those type of questions come in because that is important. Cars have changed over the years, so a lot of them have cameras, monitors, sensors, so all of that's put into the theory. So every 2 years the theory test gets updated. That's the reason why. And that's the reason why they give you 2 years to pass your driving test, because technically if you haven't passed it within 2 years, your knowledge is outdated. So that's the reason why I always say try to do the driving alongside the theory alongside the driving. So once you pass the theory, go and book your driving test, because 2 years seems like a long time, but before you know it, it's over, and then you've got to resit it. And as you're now seeing, it is harder the next time round in general, driving and theory side of it. So hopefully that explains why. Cedric, good morning to you. I'm not seeing your name before, so welcome. I passed on Monday, thanks for your visit. Congratulations on passing. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. I saw the comment underneath. I'm new here. I pray I follow and pass my test. Amen. I hope you pass as well. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask away. Just put a Q semicolon in front so I can see it. Samuel, good morning to you. Patience, good morning. Thank you so much for your support and constructive feedback. I really appreciate how you always emphasize the importance of having a strong understanding across all categories. Yeah, it's with anything, it's in life. If you understand it, it makes life a lot easier in going forwards. But not only that, you need it for your driving. I can't stress that enough. Like I said, as a driving instructor, students that pass before they come to me, they haven't seen my channel, they haven't done anything to do with me, their knowledge is weak. And like I said, I'm spending most of the time at the side of the road explaining theory stuff when they've already passed it. And that's why I know some of you are just doing it to pass it so you can move on with the driving. That's not the way you should be doing it. You should be doing it to understand it. And the difference is, if you understand it, you're going to pass anyway, so it's no extra work. But then when you pass and you take your driving lessons, the driving falls into place. But if you're just doing the theory to pass it, I need to pass so I can get the driving, you're not passing, you're not studying to understand it, you're studying to pass it. That's the difference. And then you now take driving lessons, but you have to be explained by the driving instructor how the two ties in understanding, which means technically you're wasting a bit of driving time, which means you're wasting money. So the driving lessons is going to cost you more in the long run. So either way, you're paying for it. You either study to understand it, pass first time, hopefully, save money in your driving lessons, or you study to pass the theory, but you fail 2 or 3 times, because the average is failing 3.3 times to pass the theory test. So it's cost you more, 23 quid every time, and it's going to cost you more in driving lessons. So you've got to ask yourself, which one do you really want? I've not seen your name before, so welcome to you. I passed my theory test first time, and that's because of you. Just thank you so much. Appreciate the words. It's funny because yesterday I was out with the wife, Milton Keynes. I actually took a bus from Luton to Milton Keynes, which was interesting. Didn't have to drive. And quite a few people actually came up to me yesterday, watching the videos, watching the lives, and commenting on how it's helping them pass the theory test, or helping them study, or help them pass the theory test. So it's actually nice to meet some of you guys yesterday. So some of you who met me yesterday are on here, welcome, and appreciate the words and the conversations we had yesterday. It was good fun. It's truly helped me prepare better to share that I passed. Happy to share that I passed my theory last week with scores of 46. After 60, I said, once again, for you graduate. No problem, patience. Congratulations on passing. Thank you for coming and sharing that. Appreciate that. I'm not a first aider. Correct, but the difference is what you guys don't realise, because most of you obviously haven't passed your driving test yet, so you're taking transport and lifts from mum, dad, boyfriend, girlfriend, co-workers, whatever it is. You're not driving on a regular. And as I said, when you get your license, it opens up the country to you, because once you get your license, you can go anywhere. There's no restrictions on where you can actually drive in another country. That's how it's not restricted. So when you are driving on a regular basis, because you're going far, wide, wherever, you're going to see a lot more stuff going on in terms of accidents, and you may want to stop, you may want to help out. And that's the reason why they're trying to throw first aid in, because a life, if you know a little bit, it can save a life. Whereas if you know nothing, no life is being saved. That's the reason why they're front here. Some people, and I'm not, don't take this personal, some people when, and I get this from other students who study, I'm not a first aider, so why do we need to learn this, and all the rest of it. You got to understand, when you are driving, you can be in an accident. Think about this, and don't wish this on anyone. You're driving now, you've passed your driving test, you're driving, you're in an accident. It doesn't have to be your fault. Remember, someone can crash into you, but your passenger needs first aid support. If you know a little bit, you can actually save your passenger. That's how you have to look at it. Don't look at it as, oh, well, I'm never going to be using first aid. You don't know. So that's the reason why they're trying to encourage people to understand a little bit about it, but hopefully they take it further and do a first aid course. And that's the reason why. Put in with the theory, I know there's some questions in there that doesn't seem relevant, especially some of you, example, doing automatic lessons. Why do I need to learn about gears? There's gears, as much as automatic is doing the gear change for you, but if you understand what the gears are doing, it helps your knowledge, especially in certain situations. So as much as there's stuff in there that may not be relevant to you at this point in time, it is relevant maybe in the future. You just don't know it yet because you haven't got your license to experience all experiences you can have. That's the reason why it says all the questions in the theory test is relevant, even though it may not seem that way. Passed my theory, yes, Saturday. Well done to you for taking on a Saturday, first of all. Congratulations and welcome to the channel. I've not seen your name before. I'm writing on Saturday. I'm assuming you mean this Saturday coming up. I wish you luck with that. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. Do you have videos of a new update categories on your page? All my videos are relevant. I know I haven't done videos for some time other than the one that was released, but all the videos, because I'm licensed by the DVSA, we get all the updates. Any updates they did, like the ADAS questions, which I did about over a year ago, I did a video on that. First aid questions, I did a video on that. So all my video categories, the playlist is still up to date and it's current. There's nothing new. Anything new that comes out, I always do a video on there. So anything on my channel technically not outdated. I am getting back to filming videos now, so there'll be new stuff coming out, but it's still going to be the same questions that's in there now, if that makes sense. So anything you watch on my channel is not outdated, even though it may say a year, 2 years, they're still current. Good morning, I'm new here. Welcome. I need your help. Everyone says that to me. I need help, and that's another thing with the emails and WhatsApp. I need help. Now, am I a mind reader? No. So, what do you need help with? When you guys are asking for help, you need to tell me what you need help with, and I'll tell you why. Because the theory test, first of all, is in 2 parts. Do you need help with the questions? Do you need help with hazard perception? Do you need help with both parts? Do you need help with a particular category? Do you need help how to book a theory test? Because some of you don't know how to book a theory test. Do you need help with how to study? Do you need help with motivation? There's 101 things you can need help with. And there's only so much I can do over a live stream, and there's only so much I can do over WhatsApp text and emails. So you need to give me a little bit more help than that. Desrina, good morning to you. Hope you're well. Claudette, good morning to you. I don't think I've seen your name before, so welcome. See, here we go again. I'm struggling for the theory test. Could you please give me an advice? It goes back to what I just said. Advice with what? What are you struggling with? Good morning. I've watched your videos and your live stream, and I must say a big thank you. I've passed my theory test on Friday. Congratulations on passing. Thank you for coming to the live sessions. Let me know. Appreciate it. Good morning, great teacher. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for all your lessons. I passed my another pass as well. Well done to you. Passed my theory test after 3rd attempt. That's the average, by the way, 3.3. And now I'm ready for driving practice. What would you recommend for me at a beginner? I can't recommend automatic or manual, especially if it's a beginner. And the reason why I can't do is personal choice. I'm a manual driving instructor. If I was going to say anything, I'm biased. So I would say do manual. Why? Because once you pass in the manual, you can do both. You can do automatic and manual. If you're passing automatic, you're stuck with automatic. If you are a young person, probably I would say anything between 17 and 30, I would go for manual. And the reason being because you don't know where your life choices are going to take you. If you do automatic now, 17, 18, for example, and then later on in life, a job comes up where you can get a company vehicle. Most of them are going to be manual, which means you can't get that job or take the job. Whereas if you do it in obviously manual, you've got options. So that's the reason why. If you're later on in life, 35, 40, got a family, your life is pretty much set, it's not going to change from that, then go for automatic. But it is personal. You have to make that decision. Sit back, sit down and think about where you want to go with this, and then go from there. Some two-way roads are divided into 3 lanes. Why are they particularly dangerous? Because the middle lane could be used for overtaking up or down. That's the reason why. Those roads are being phased out, but it's still a question, because there are some roads out there that still have 3 lanes. So if you take my advice with images, you always go up with your images. So you're going up on the left, which means the car's coming down on their left. So the middle lane can be used by both vehicles up and down for overtaking. So if one's overtaking going up, the other one's overtaking coming down, the middle lane's a potential accident waiting to happen. That's the reason why it's dangerous. I believe that question's still in the theory. Well, I'm assuming that must be because you're asking that question. Good morning, I pray I passed my test because I'm new here. I've done that one already. You've done that earlier on. All you got to do is type your comments in once. I will see it. Which things are most important for the theory? Which things are most important? All 774 questions on the app. If you want my honest opinion, all 700, there's 774 questions on the app. I think there's a bit more than that, but all the questions on the app are important because you need to expose yourself to all the questions so you have an idea what they could be asking on the real test. On the app, it's 774 questions. On the real test, their database is anything from 1,500 to 2,000 questions. So you need to expose yourself with all of that. So that's what's more important, and obviously there has perception practice. This is the teacher in me, and because I see this a lot, especially again in the study camp with students. That question, I'm not saying you are, but when someone asks that question, what's more important, you're looking for a shortcut because you're looking for what's important to study. If it's in the app, you should be studying it. It doesn't make a difference whether it's important, not important, whether you got stuff that's important, not so. You can miss out. You should be studying all of it because you need all of it for the driving. But when someone asks me that type of question, my first thing as a teacher thinks to myself, you're looking for a shortcut. That's a shortcut to failure. So if you take your theory test and failed it first time, there's your answer. But I repeat, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but when someone asks me the question, that's the reason why. And my experience with the majority of students I teach. Good morning. Could you have me study my driving theory? So I need to read this again because this is worded badly in my brain. Good morning. I'm assuming you mean could you help me study my driving theory? It's so hard to do. I have dyslexia. Right, that's the reason I'm struggling to read this because I've got dyslexia, but the words have to be in the right order for my brain to make sense. If it's not, then I get confused, and that's the reason why I'm reading it 2 or 3 times. It depends what level of dyslexia you have. Obviously, I'm a lot older than you, so I have to control my dyslexia, and it doesn't really bother me, to be fair. I give getting, you mean keep getting 40 out of 50 and to understand them so I can pass real tests. The reason why you're getting 40 out of 50 is similar to what I was saying in the video that I released this week. You're not understanding them. Think about this. If you understand, you improve. If you don't understand, you stay where you are or get worse. That's the reason why. So when someone says, I keep getting 40 out of X, it's because you don't understand. So the improvement doesn't go any higher. You don't get 41, 42. You're not understanding. You're not improving. You're pretty much set the same. You see the 40 questions. If you look at it this way, see the same. You see the 40 questions. You understand the 40 questions, but the 10 you're getting wrong. You're not even understanding the 40 questions. To be fair, you just recognise the answer. The other 10 questions you don't understand, so you can't improve because if you don't understand it, you can't pick the right answer. You're working on memory and lack of understanding. This is something I can't do over the live stream. I don't know who you are, the age, and how you think. And it's not something I can do over email. The only thing I can suggest is you join the study camp, and then I'm helping you personally because I get to talk to you. I get to hear what you say. I get to see how you think because I can see your results in terms of how you study. I really work on what people say and the mindset because that's what I need to change. It's very easy for me to sit here and say, you don't understand this, you don't understand that. Sometimes there's an underlying reason why someone's failing. the theory test, and it's not always because of lack of understanding. Sometimes it's the way they are studying, it's the way their brain thinks, it's the way, again, I'll give you an example, and if I can find it here, let me just do this quickly here. This is prime example. Like I said, as soon as I saw this question, my brain's thinking this person is looking for a shortcut. I'm not saying they are because I don't know them. But if I was talking to them in the study camp, for example, and they asked me this question, I would be going deeper to ask you why you're asking that question. And it normally leads to someone wants to take a shortcut. And that's the reason why I work on mindset, because if you change the mindset when it comes to studying, I can make a person pass pretty much first time. If I can't change your mindset, it's harder. You have to learn from mistakes. You fail 2 or 3 times and think, hold on a minute, Dorian's right, let me change my way. And then go from there. So, yeah, it's something I can't do over live stream or emails or WhatsApp. It's something I can do in the study camp. So if they're interested, join the study camp and we'll work together. Could you please revise the arm signals, because I'm seeing a few questions. Arm signals, I can't revise them because they're images. I can go, let me come back to that, and I can explain it verbally, but I can't show you with images because I've not got those images here. Good morning. I would like to know whether some paper and pen will be provided for rough work. No. It's all done on computer. You need to know that stuff. Paper and pen ain't going to help you anyway. It's not maths. So you don't need paper and pen for that. No, you can't take anything in there in the theory chain. They take their security really seriously in there, so you can't take it. Keep doing that. You can't take anything in there. All you need is just you and you alone. Anything extra that you have on you, your phones, keys, even sometimes jewelry that ask you to take off, rings, watches, and all the rest of it, they make you put that into a locker. So they take their security really, really seriously. So you can't take anything extra in there. So the answer to your thing is no. And paper and pen doesn't help you with the theory training, because like I said, it's not maths. You don't have to show out your workings. You don't have to show your logic. Your workings done up here. All right, let me do the test quickly, because that's why you guys are here. I don't want to drag out your bank holiday weekend. Share screen would help. Right, so those of you that are new, what we do is read the question. This is question 1. What should you do if you're driving a slow-moving vehicle on a narrow, winding road? This is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So if you think it's 1A, please put the question number and the letter of choice. Because there's a delay between me and the internet, you and the internet. So when I show the answer, I like to make sure we're on the same number. I can't go back with this app. It doesn't allow me to go back to double check. So if you've got a question, don't understand it, type it in as soon as possible so I can address it before we move on, because I can't go back. Where are we at? Done that one already. Please just type your comments in once. Good morning to you and welcome. Good morning to you. Right, so arm signals. Right, arm signals is if the image is the person sticking the hand out of the window doing a circular motions turning left. If the person sticking the hand out of the window, no movement whatsoever, is turning right. And if the person sticking the hand out the window, moving the hand up and down slowly, then it is slowing down. Or for the theory test, pulling up on the left. That's the one they use a lot on the real test, as in pulling up on the left. So I repeat, sticking the hand out, a circular motion, is turning left. Sticking the hand out, no movement whatsoever, the arm is still, is turning right. And if the hand's going up and down slowly, that's pulling up on the left, slowing down. There's only 3 signals on the car, by the way, turning left, turning right, and your brake lights all slowing down. So I hope that helps. I'm putting the B's up because I know it's the first question, but moving forwards, it won't be shown. So to be like patience, 1B, not just B. I've got 11B here. Some of you all know what you meant. So you guys are gone for B. What should you do if your vehicle If you're driving a slow moving vehicle, no. If you're driving a slow moving vehicle. Yep, do it safely though. Oops. What will affect your vehicle stopping distance? The champions. That's who my team is. Arsenal. So I'll be watching the Spurs and West Ham game because you know what I want since I'm an Arsenal supporter. Good morning. I had my fairy test last week and passed with flying colours. Well done to you. 48 in the multiple choice and 6 hands possession. Thank you so much for all your explanations and videos. No problem, you are welcome. Thank you for letting me know. Appreciate that. So again, if you're still here, let me know what you're going to do next, because it's nice to know if you guys can actually go straight off and do driving lessons, or you're going to sit on it for a while. And this is why I say put the question number on, because someone's got 1B. There's internet difference as well, so it depends on what stage they're watching, and that's the reason why I say put the question number. Not this person's done anything wrong, but I'm just showing you the number 1 question still coming through with the 2s. So that's why I asked you to put the question number, so I know exactly where you're at. The conditions of the tyres. What will affect the vehicle's stopping distance? Conditions of the tyres worded differently. Speed limit, no. Strong street lighting, time of day. Yeah, if the tyres are worn. For those of you who don't know, it's another fairy test question. What's the legal requirement for your tyres? It needs to be 1.6mm tread depth. And if they ask you why does it need to be 1.6mm tread depth, because it carries points, 3 points per license. So all the stuff I'm saying is part of the real test, not the apps. They don't tell you this in the apps. And that's why you need to understand the questions inside that. Additional information helps when you're doing the app questions as well, even though you don't get those additional information. But again, a lot of people say, why do I need to know the condition of my tyres? That's the reason why, because it carries points. If you're driving a car and it's less than 1.6 or cuts, bulges, rips or tears on a tyre wall, you'll get 3 points on your license, and 3 points per tyre, by the way. And again, if you didn't know, when you pass your driving test, you're on 2 years probation. So if you get 6 points or more in the first 2 years, you lose your license and you're back to square one. So if your tyre condition was poor and it's 2 tyres or more, that's your license gone in that situation alone. And like I said, a lot of people don't realise that. But this is about, like I said, understanding the questions and answers inside out. This is number 3. You're waiting at a pelican crossing. What does it mean when the red light changes to flashing amber? Remember, if you've got any questions, please put it in the comment section. Just type it once only. I will come across, especially if you put a Q semicolon, I will come across it and I will answer it as best I can. Also, if you've got questions about your driving lessons, because I know some of you are struggling with certain things in the driving manoeuvres, I got this week, and struggling with gear changes was another one. Email this week. What's this question about? Some of you still just put in the letter of choice. It's got to put the question number. I've got 3B now, I've got C, so here. So someone's wrong along the way. And YouTube is very slow because they're coming in dribs and drabs. Let's give it a little bit longer for some more answers to come through. Okay, so the person that went with B must be wrong, because the majority of you guys, the majority of you are going for C. C seems to be the common answer. You went give way to pedestrians on for crossing. Someone went for B, get ready and go when the continuous amber light. That makes no sense. Get ready and go when the continuous amber light shows. That makes no sense. Okay, it's C, by the way. And just to add to that, that's the theory test answer. For your driving test answer, notice I'm saying driving test answer, you go when they've crossed. So if it's flashing amber on your driving test and it's safe to go, as in there's no pedestrians, you go on the flashing amber. Do not wait for green. If you wait for green, you can get marked down for undue hesitation. But like I said, you need to theory test and real life doesn't always tally, so you've got to be very careful bringing real life into the theory and the theory test into real life. It doesn't always go hand in hand. Number 4, you're driving along this road. What should you do if a red car cuts in close in front of you? I failed my, it's supposed to be test, right? Test 3 times. They twist the questions. They don't twist the questions. They definitely don't do that. But I mentioned earlier on, the average times it takes to pass the theory test is, I don't know where to get the 0.3, but it's 3.3 times you've got to take a test before you can pass it. But they don't twist the questions. If you're looking at it that way, you're going to keep failing. I mentioned it in the beginning, the questions are worded differently from the app. You guys are studying the apps thinking it's going to be the same questions worded the same way. The questions are worded differently. So if you mean that's what they're saying, they're telling you before you go in there. You know, I'm telling you before you go in there, the questions are going to be worded differently. So it's not twisted, it's worded differently. And it's going to be questions you've never seen before. I'm gonna come back to it. Let me just start this. I'm gonna come back to it and tell you guys something and tell you why it is the way it is. Right, 4B, let me just deal with this. Some of you still not typing in the question number, so I have no idea what your letter's related to. The reason I'm smiling because that TV, the comments you're making is exactly the video that I released on Thursday. If you haven't seen the video that I released on Thursday about doing mock test after mock test, after this live session, go and watch that video. You're the typical, and I'm not picking on you by the way, but that video is you. I'm going to explain why in a minute. But yeah, that TV, that video's for you. Go and watch that video. It was released on Thursday. I forgot what it's called now. It's filmed a little while ago. Something about doing mock test after mock test anyway, back to back. But it's the latest video on the channel. It came out Thursday morning. But that's you. Sorry, 4B is what you guys are going for. Yeah. If it's... You're driving on this... It says this road, so it's just a normal road. 30 miles an hour or less, you leave a safe gap. So just drop back and leave the correct separation distance. That's why it says correct separation distance, because it's different for each road. So 30 miles an hour, you leave a safe gap. That's what the theory test answer would be. If it's a dual carriageway or motorway, which is 40 miles an hour or more, you're going to leave a 2-second gap if it's dry, 4 seconds if it's wet. Ice and snow, it would be up to 10 times longer. So that's where that comes in. Right, so let me sign this one off. And number 5, you're driving behind a heavy goods vehicle. What should you do if it's signal left but steers to the right? So I'm just doing some of these comments. Yeah, so like I said, Shoot That TV, go and watch. I know I saw you comment, you will watch it afterwards, but yeah, that video's for you, and that'll explain to you why you're failing 3 times, even though you're getting 50 out of 50 on a mock test. Because that's, like I said, that video's actually aimed at someone like yourself, because I saw that a lot in the study camp, the students doing that and failing. Because just because you're getting 50 out of 50 doesn't mean to say you're ready to take a real test. And let me just quickly explain the comment. Like I said, they're not twisting the question. The question's worded differently. Back in the day, we're talking about 20 plus years ago, they used to, before online stuff, they used to do the books with the theory test questions. So the questions was at the front of the book, and then the answers was at the back of the book. And then when I say the questions and answers, was the real questions and answers for the theory test. Just in case you guys don't know, I've been a driving instructor for 30 years. So I was actually, before there was no theory, I was teaching, and obviously theory came in, so I've adapted and evolved with the whole thing. So anyway, the point I'm making is with the books and CDs back then, it wasn't no online, it was books and CDs that you can throw into the computers. There was the question at the front and the answer at the back. So you did the questions and then you flip to the back to find the answers. And what they found was lots of accidents happened. The driving lessons was poor. It was ages to teach people because they didn't understand it. They literally just memorized the questions, memorized the answers. And that's why they stopped printing the real questions. That's why they stopped giving the real answers, because it was done on memory, and the stats for accidents went up a massive amount. So that's why they want you to understand the topics and understand the categories, because the standard of driving got better by doing that. So that's the reason why they don't release the exact questions. That's why they don't release the exact answers, because people do it on memorization, and you guys are still doing it even though the apps tell you it's sampled questions. So it's still happening now, hence why the 3.3 attempts to pass the theory test. Can you please explain the difference between a single carriageway to dual carriageway motorways, and keep getting confused between types of roads and how many lanes? Got nothing to do with lanes. That's where you're going wrong. Dual carriageways has nothing to do with lanes. You can have a 1 lane. For example, I live in Luton. We got a 20-mile-an-hour dual carriageway, which is 1 lane up and down. A single carriageway's got no crash barrier in the middle. That's what you got to understand. A single carriageway's got lines or no lines in the middle of the road. That means you can go on the other side of the road, no problems. That's a single carriageway. A dual carriageway's got a crash barrier, otherwise known as a central reservation down the middle. So it's impossible to go on the other side. So that's what a dual carriageway is. So you go up on the left, 1 carriageway. On the other side of the barrier is another carriageway, hence dual carriageways. Dual carriageway and motorway is the same thing, got crash barrier in the middle. And again, you can have any amount of lanes. The difference between a dual carriageway and a motorway, though, is the right-hand lane. If they ask you that question, that's the different question altogether. So I repeat, dual carriageways and motorways are the same thing, a crash barrier or central reservation down the middle, but the difference between the two is the right-hand lane. The right-hand lane for a motorway is only for overtaking. A right-hand lane for a dual carriageway is overtaking and turning right. So that's the difference between those type of roads. So hopefully that helps you out. And we are on number 5, so let's find the 5s. Jay, hopefully you'll pass in 4 weeks. But let us know how you got on now. Jack, welcome. Passing Friday. Congratulations on passing. Thank you for coming to the live and let me know how you got on. Appreciate that. I'm gonna, Eze, I'll just see in your comment. Let me come back to that because I need to read that properly to understand it. Sorry, 5A is what you guys would know. Yeah, the reason why it's swinging out to the right is because it's a heavy goods vehicle. They have to swing out to get the trailer around the corner safely. If they done it like a car, which is a meter from the curb, they end up going over the pavement. Number 6, how can you identify traffic signs that give orders? Please, what did you say about the flash and amber light in a driving test, since it's slightly different to the ferry test? Yeah, the ferry test question says you're at Pelican Crossings, flash and amber, what do you do? And the answer is give way to pedestrians already on the crossing. For your driving test, it's the follow-up to that, to be fair. If you apply the ferry test question, if you like, for the driving side, so the ferry says give way to pedestrians already on the crossing on the flash and amber. The follow-up is for the driving test, if they've crossed, there's nobody on the crossing and it's flashing amber, what do? You go. You don't wait. So you can go on the flashing amber in real life as long as there's nobody on the crossing. If you wait for the green light, the examiner can mark you down for undue hesitation. So that's what I meant by that. So the ferry test is give way to pedestrians. For your driving test, once the pedestrian's gone, you go on the flashing amber. If you applied the ferry test answer to the driving test, give way to pedestrian and waiting for the green light, for example, like I said, I'm not saying you will, but you can get marked down for undue hesitation on that. Please, how many tests do we need to pass before I can scale through? Sorry, I'm new, that's why I'm asking. I see theory and practical. Please, how many tests do we need? Are you talking, when you say how many tests do you need to pass before you scale through, I'm assuming you meant by the theory side of it. How many theory tests you need to take, or how many mock tests you need to take? I can't answer that because I don't know you. You're studying. You got to do what's right for you. As much as I'm saying, again, related to the video I did this week, you shouldn't take mock test after mock test. Can some people do that, take mock test after mock test and pass? Yes. Can you cram last minute and pass the test? Yes. I'm not saying you can't do those stuff, but the average person can't. That's why it takes 3.3 attempts to pass the theory test. So you got to do what's right for you. But so if you're asking me how many mock tests you should take or how many mock tests you should be passing, I can't answer that. You should know when you're ready. But I will also add, similar to what I said to Shadat TV, I think it was, just because you're getting 50 out of 50, it doesn't mean to say you're ready for a test. It just means that you know what the answers are, which sounds kind of weird, because if you know what the answers are, you should be taking the test. It's whether you understand those answers. So I can't answer that. But if you're passing mock tests on a regular basis and not back to back, every 3 or 4 days you're taking a mock test, you pass it, but you understand the answer rather than recognize the answer, you can use that as a guideline to say you're ready. But if you kind of pass it and you recognize the answer, there's a difference between recognizing the answer and understanding the answer. If you recognize the answer, you're not ready. But if you understand the answer, then you're ready. That's the basic guidelines I can give you. But like I said, you know you better than me, so go with your gut instinct. But don't use the 50 out of 50 passing on the mock test as a say, I am ready. It doesn't mean that you are. Number 6. What you guys got to understand as well, when you're studying, you got to do what's right for you, because I can't I can't give a blanket answer for everybody, but I said the things I do and talk about, that's from experience. It's not just me saying it. Because remember, I teach students every single week, and I've been doing a theory training for the last 10, 11 years now. So I've seen the common things. I've seen the emails coming in. I've seen the WhatsApp coming in. So I'm talking about the majority that shouldn't be doing mock test after mock test and this and that. So I'm talking from experience. I'm not just someone who's just saying it for the sake of saying it. I'm saying it from experience why people are failing. But there's always exceptions to the rule. Like I said, can someone cram in the 2-day studying and passing it? Yes, they can. But it doesn't make it right, but they can. But it's going to come back and haunt them at some point with the driving lessons. So that's the other thing. Sorry, 6A is what you guys are going for. Oops. Yeah, circles are orders. Red circles, let me clarify that. Red circles are orders. What do the long line white? Try again. Dyslexia, see? I have problems with dyslexia reading and getting the words out. What do the long white lines along the centre of the road mean? Got there in the end. For someone who's asking about single carriageway, this is a single carriageway road. There's no crash barrier, so you can go on the wrong side of the road. So this is a single carriageway, but they're talking to you about the white lines. All right, let's get these comments out of the way. Welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen your name before, but anyway, I'm writing on Saturday, 30th to 5th. It's next week. Wish you luck with it. Please come back next Sunday. Let us know how you got on. If you've got any questions about it, anything in doubts, concerns, type it in now while we're live. Let me answer that, send you in there nice and confidently. I wish you the best luck with that. Remember, take your time to read the questions and answers. Don't rush it. Don't panic when you're in there either. 57 minutes is more than enough time. Sir, how can I pass my theory test? I need you to teach me the twist questions. I don't want to fail the 4th time. If you want to pass the next time, first of all, stop thinking about the twist and the questions, because your brain's now thinking there's something. When you read the questions, your brain's looking for the twist. There is no twist with the questions. The questions are differently. Again, let me give you an example. I suggest you watch the video. This is massive. If you want to pass on the 4th time, oh, don't want to fail the 4th time. I'll tell you what. If I'm saying that correct, sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Let me know in the comment section, have you got a test booked already, or are you looking to book another one? So just put, yes, I've got a test booked, or no, I haven't, for your 4th time. First of all, you want to change your mindset about twisting questions. The question's not twisted. And I'll give you an example. I use this a lot with my students. When I'm teaching driving, it's just like the theory test. I keep things very, very simple in the car when I'm teaching. The driving test is about safety and control, and that's what I teach my students, safety and control. So what happens is, when I teach a topic, subject, whatever it happens to be, I teach them what I call basic. 2 + 2 = 4. That 4 is safety. 2 + 2 = 4. The 4 is safety. Now, if my students go off, once they understand and start to get independent and do it on their own, and they do what 3 + 1, for example, it still equals 4. That's not a twist. It's the same thing. It's just a different way of doing it. But your brain is now looking for that twist. And that's going to make you panic and stress when you go into the test. If you keep thinking the question's twisted, it's not. It's the same question. But if you understand it, you still understand what the answer is. So if my student does a 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, there's nothing to be confused about. It's the same thing, because it still equals 4. Whatever question they are asking, it still leads to the same answer. Safety. You're seeing it's a twist. Your brain's going to start to stress because you think, hold a minute, this question's twisted from the one I know. That's different. If you understand it, it's not a twist. It's the same thing. And that's what you need to change. So if you want to pass on a 4th attempt, that's the first thing you have to change, is your mindset about twisting questions. I repeat, the question's not twisted. It's worded differently. And on the apps, it tells you that there's sampled questions. That's your first baseline, and then go from there. But if you're going there with the same mindset, you're going to fail. But yeah, put in the comment section if you got a test booked or not. And then once I see your answer, I'll tell you why I'm asking that question. Number 7. As I said, sometimes with your failing the theory test, it's not about knowledge. Sometimes it's just literally your mindset. And some of you just changed your mindset. I missed it by 1. I missed it by a couple of marks. What's the most question asked on the categories and blah, blah, blah. That's all things that's not relevant. What you should be doing is saying, right, why did I get 8 questions wrong? Not missed it by a couple of marks. Why did I get 8 questions wrong? And go from there. Becky, I'm fine. You're late, but you're here. I appreciate you being here. 7D. D. They are hazard warning lines. Oh, I'm surprised I haven't put it here. Be careful. Hazard on the real test I'm talking about. Obviously on this one they didn't. Hazard warning lines and center lines is another option. Looks very similar. Hazard warning lines, again, this is about understanding. Hazard warning lines lets you know there's a hazard coming up. In this situation, the hazard is the bend. That's why you see the lines before. You normally see the hazard lines before a bend, when the road's kind of narrow, or what's the other one? Giveaway lines. There's 5 of them on the right-hand side. So like I said, this is all about knowledge. So hazard lines lets you know there's a hazard. The hazard in this image is the bend going to the right. What should you do before making a U-turn? I'm writing on Saturday. 30th is next week. I feel ready. That's good, but I still have lots to do. At least you got self-awareness, because you know that you feel ready, but you know you got lots to do. So I'm assuming that you're going to do these lots before the day on Saturday. I wish you luck with that. Please come back next Sunday and let us know how you got on. He said that means June's just around the corner. Wow, we're 6 months of the year already. It's crazy. Yeah, I can't stress understand it, because if you understand, you're going to pass anyways. Extra work to put in now, but it's going to benefit you in the long run. But yeah, I do wish you luck with that. Please come back next week. Undue hesitation, thank you for the clarification. Yeah, no problem with that. I used to watch you now. I got my license, and yesterday I passed on something of a speed limit, and you're back on my page. Amazing. First of all, thank you for watching in the past. Thank you for coming back and making a comment. And I don't know what you meant by I passed on red over speed limit. But either way, you got your license now from the sound of it. Just keep driving safely. That's the most important thing. I'm new here. I have my theory at 1st of June, which is the week after next. I'm silent watcher. Thank you for breaking the silence. That's most important. You're here and you're breaking the silence. As well, Lady Depps. Since your test is next week after next, basically. If you've got any questions, type them in. Let us know how you come back, please, on the following Sunday after the 1st of June. Let us know how you got on. Come back next Sunday. So while you're studying, this is for all of you, while you guys are studying during the week, if you've got any questions, doubts, concerns, jot them down. Come to the live. So that's why I go live, so I can answer the questions to you personally. So don't be afraid to jot the questions down. Just put a Q semicolon, makes it easier for me to find. What are we on? 8. Sorry, you guys got the comments on it. Sorry, what's B? Look over your shoulder for a final check. Right, again, this is what I said earlier on for those of you that was here. Real life and the theory test doesn't go hand in hand. The theory test is black and white. It's safe or it isn't. The driving lessons, driving test has grey areas. You have to turn those grey areas into safety for your driving. So the answer for your theory test question here, what should you do before making a U-turn, is look over your shoulder for a final check. They call it shoulder check. On the real test and on your driving lessons, it's blind spot. So on the real test, you can say shoulder or blind spot. So if you don't see shoulder, look for a blind spot check. On your driving lessons and driving instructors, we say blind spot check. In real life, if before you do a U-turn, you're looking for road signs. So you're going to be doing this one. You're doing D in real life because you want to make sure you're not breaking the rules. But the theory test always puts you in a safe scenario, so you can skip this and do this. So that's the difference between the theory and real life. You need glasses to read a vehicle number plate at the required distance. When must you wear them? So some of the comments you guys are making me laugh. I will book another theory test, but I'm scared. You're going to be scared. You failed it 3 times. The more times you fail it, the more scared you're going to be, because obviously it's the fear of failure. As I said, first of all, you need to change your mindset to have a better chance of passing next time. I failed the first on the 22nd. I'm assuming you mean 22nd of May, which is 2 days ago. What score did you get? Out of interest, just what score did you get on that test on the 22nd? But I will say you need to change your mindset about twisting. It's not twisted. I can't stress it. You keep saying that. So until that goes, you're going to struggle to pass on the next one. Where can I find more videos to practice? There isn't. The official clips are the ones on the app. As I said, the apps, if you're paying for the apps, that is, and listen to someone like myself, I know there's, I can't remember her name now. There's Annie. She mainly does Facebook stuff on the theory training. And there's another guy who does special needs, Chris Benstead. And he's normally on Facebook when he does his stuff as well. We are licensed trainers, so the same questions you see on the apps, the same questions we have access to. So it's the same video clips. So those are the official ones from the DVSA. To find other hazard perception, you may have to go online. There isn't any set place you can go because the DVSA only release those same videos on the apps. And I know they get repeated again and again. But to answer your question, search online, but it just won't be official. It doesn't make a difference because practice is practice, but there isn't no one place you can go to get these videos because the DVSA hasn't licensed those, if that makes sense. So I can't tell you where to go. Just do online. Is your best bet. Google it, see what comes up. There's probably some pirate sites who's making their own, trying to sell it off like the DVSA's version. Mark, I'm writing on Tuesday. What's the final advice for me? You're tested on Tuesday, today's Sunday. Yes, I would do, if you haven't done it already, I would definitely do a mock test, full mock test. So you're doing the 50 questions and then go straight into the hazard perception. So set it up on the app. So it's like the real questions. Make sure you set aside an hour, 20 minutes to do it. No TV. No family, no distractions. You're in the room on your own and start to train your brain to get mentally ready for this test. That's what I would do. On the day the test arrive early, you're supposed to be there 15 minutes before. I get my students to, the driving intensive course students, to get there for about half an hour, 45 minutes early. Do not do mock tests when you get there, because if the mock test results don't go according to plan, it's going to start to mess with your head. But when you get there early, don't pace up and down outside and wait for your time. Go in and say, look, I'm early for my test. If they've got a space, they get you in early. So you get in early, get it over and done with. And then when you're in there, take your time to read the questions, take your time to read all the answers, look for the clues. If you can't work it out, flag it, don't stress over it, just flag it and move on. And on the 50th question, it will ask you, do you want to review your flagged ones? You could say yes, go back to the flagged ones. And then the time you got remaining, you can divide that with the time of the amount of questions you got left. That way you're not rushing and panicking. If you feel stressed and panic with any particular question, take a time out. What I mean by that is just sit back in your seat and chill. Just take a deep breath. Do not answer any questions you feel panicked on, because if you do that, the brain will pick an answer just to get out of that panic state. So always answer the question where you're as calm as you possibly can, and that's my advice for you. The last 3 questions though, 48, 49 and 50 are case studies. Those are videos. I would watch the videos 2 to 3 times first before answering, because the eyes will pick up what's natural on the videos. If you watch it 2 or 3 times, there's other little clues that eyes don't pick up. An example is on the app, and I use this in the study camp. There's a white wall version of a case study with a guy walking against a white wall. And you guys watch it once. The question is, what disability has he got? You see the guy's got a white stick against a white wall. So the first thing you guys do is go for blind. And the answer's wrong. He's blind and deaf. Now, if you watch the video 2 to 3 times, you start to see the red on the stick. The eyes don't pick it up first time. It picks it up second, third, sometimes fourth. And then you see the red, 2 colours, 2 disabilities. So that's what I would do. The 48, 49, 50th question, I would watch 2 to 3 times before I think about answering the questions. You can watch those videos as many times as you want in your 57 minutes. So even if you go to the question and you don't know what the answer is, go back and watch the video. That's my advice for you. And I wish you luck with it. But with the weather being the way it's going to be this week, apparently, make sure you're hydrated. I don't know what time your test is. If it's late in the afternoon or evening, make sure you're well hydrated, because you can't take water into the test center with you. In saying that, I'm going to have a sip of my water. But I wish you luck with it. Come back next week and let us know how you go. Number 9, let's find the 9s. And sometimes with the test, taking the test is being mentally ready before you go in as well. Some of you ignore that part of it about just going in and just taking tests, or turn up early and doing 3-4 mock tests before you go in. If you don't know it before going in, you taking 3-4 mock tests ain't going to change that. That's only going to confuse the brain. So you shouldn't really do mock tests on the way to your test. You either know it or you don't. But you're just going to confuse the brain with so much stuff. What did I do? Did I get that question before I went in there and all the rest of it? I recognised that question before I came in. The questions in the real test is different from the app. So you doing app questions going up to your test, and it doesn't make sense. Right, so you go for D. Yeah, if you wear glasses when you're passing the test, that's even with contact lenses, you have to keep wearing them from the driving side of it. Just in case you guys didn't know, the reason why I'm asking this, you do an eyesight check before you take your driving test. On the day of the driving test, the examiner will get you to stand at a certain distance and get you to read the registration plate. If you can't read the registration plate, you aren't driving on your test. Your test is over, fail. That's why they're asking the question. What does this motorway sign mean? What's the secret to pass at once? I'm new here. The secret to passing at once, first time, I'm assuming that's what you mean, is study. There's no other secret to it. Just study properly. Make sure you understand the questions, understand the answers, then you'll pass first time. The twist question is, why is trams friendly in town? I know the answer. They use electricity, but it's not there. That's not the twist. That's you memorizing the question. That's why you said the answer's not there. Think about it. You said the twist is, why the trams friendly in towns? I know the answer is they use. I know the answer is electricity, but it's not there. So if the answer's not there, there has to be an answer that's right. Because what you're saying, the answer's not there, which means the correct answer isn't there. So that goes to show you only memorize the answer as is. The question is environmentally friendly. That's why it's environmentally friendly because it uses electric. The other option because it eases congestion. That's the other option because when it's a tram area, cars aren't allowed. It's only pedestrians and cyclists. So that's the other option. But you didn't understand that. You just understand electric. But you didn't understand electric because you're memorizing the answer, because the answer you're memorizing isn't there. If you understand the question, then when you don't recognize the electric answer, you know what the other option is because the understanding is there. That's the difference. And that's what I'm trying to say to you guys. You guys are taking memorizing as learning and understanding. That's not. And that's the prime example. That's why I said you're making me laugh, because that video that I made is exactly for you. Watch that video. You are memorizing answers, but you're recognizing it as learning. That's not learning. Because if you know what the answer is, if electric isn't there, then you now know it's congestion. It eases congestion. That's understanding, which means you understand all the options, not just the one you recognize. But I repeat, I'm not picking on you, by the way, because this is really good. You said, I'm going to say this again. The twist question is, why is trams friendly in towns? I know the answer is they use electric. I know the answer. I'm going to emphasize that. I know the answer is they use electric, but it's not there. Which that statement says the 4 options they gave you, that means all 4 of them must be wrong. Because you know what the answer is, it's not there. That's not understanding. That is memorizing or recognizing. The other option is it eases congestion, because no cars are allowed. Or they may put another version of it, but like I said, if electric's not there, there has to be a correct answer. 10. So hopefully all of you, especially Shadan, because I want you to pass on the next attempt, you're understanding the mistake you're making. Because if you don't understand the mistake you're making, you can't change. And if you don't change, you're going to be taking it a 4th and 5th time. So I've lost something. I'm going to assume that you meant 10. I'm going to put it up 10C, but you change your answer, which is fine. That's what you want to be doing. Reread the question if you have to. And change your answer, because what you guys tend to do, again, on the real test, you read the question, you read the answer, and then you move on. There's nothing wrong with reading the question, choose your answer, and just read your answer again against the question, because sometimes when you read the question and then read the answer again, it doesn't add up to safety. It doesn't make sense with the brain, and if it doesn't make sense, then it can't be correct. But you guys read question, pick answer, move on. There's nothing wrong with reading the answer against the question once you've picked it, just to make sure it sounds safe in the long run. I just realised some of you have gone for, majority of you have gone for B, and there's a couple of A's here. 450s. What I'd also suggest, I can't remember who it was, so they've got this test coming up. With images, always read the question first and really scan the image, because sometimes there's clues. So you've got 450s, which means there's one over the hard shoulder. So this is the left lane, just in case you didn't know. Again, it's about understanding. Left lane, middle lane, right lane. So there's a 50 over the hard shoulder. So what does this sign mean? And some of you went for B. Use all the lanes, including the hard shoulder. So like I said, 50 over the hard shoulder. You got hard shoulder in the answer. So you can go for there. It says use the hard shoulder only. You know you can't do that one because you've got 450s. So we can get rid of that one. And none of them else have got hard shoulder in the other. This says use any lane except the hard shoulder. Again, you know that can't be correct because you've got 50 over the hard shoulder. And this is how you can work out the answer if you didn't know what the answer was. But some of you went for A though. Use any lane except the hard shoulder. How does that tell you you can use the hard shoulder? So how does that tell you can use any lane except the hard shoulder? That doesn't make sense. If it didn't have 50 over it, then yes, totally agree. But it's got 50, so all of them are the same. So like I said, I can't remember who it was I was speaking to. He's got the test on Tuesday. Where when you do images, make sure you look at the image because sometimes there's clues. In England and Scotland and Northern Ireland, what will the speed limit usually be where you can see street lights but no speed limit signs? Rebecca, hi, my favourite test is on the 6th of June. I wish you luck with that. You've got a couple more Sundays, live sessions. So while you're studying, any questions, feel free to jot them down, bring them on the live sessions. I wish you luck with the 16th, and I'll see you before that. But please come back after the 16th, let us know how you got on. Herein, you're welcome. No problems. I passed on the 4th time theory test after failed 3 times in a row. Video saved me, thanks teacher, no problem, you're welcome. Again, 3.3 average to take a theory test. That's standard. It's 57 minutes to complete both multiple questions. No, it's not. 57 is just the questions, and then you get a 3-minute break, as in to watch their video. Don't watch their video. What I mean by their video is don't watch it. Apparently you have to watch it. Over the years, you can click skip and then skip the video. They're 3-minute videos telling you how to click for the hazard perception. It gives you a demonstration, all the rest of it. You don't. The reason why I'm saying skip it, because you should know how to click for your hazard perception by the time you go for the test. And you don't want to watch their video and they say one thing in the video and you've been doing something slightly different, and then you have a conflict of interest. Oh, they're saying this, so it must be correct. And then you're changing how you click on the day. You don't want to be doing that. That's why you practice at home, so you know exactly how you should be clicking. So don't change anything. So I wouldn't pay attention to their video. And then the video is about 20 minutes. The whole thing lasts about 1 hour, 20 minutes. And the videos, each video lasts between 45 seconds to a minute. So with the question, you've got plenty of time. Hazard perceptions, that just runs and runs with that. But I will do a hazard perception demonstration, Lady Depths, just in case you want any tips on that. Oh wow, you're a soldier. No problem. I want you to pass in the next attempt, but 2 things you need to do is change the mindset. No, 1 thing, change the mindset. And that, well, I'm glad you typed that question about the trams, by the way, because that's what I'm talking about when it's not a twist. It's the same question, just different option. But if you understand it, it's not a twist. If you don't understand it, it's a twist. Number 11. Is it number 11? Yeah. Just to add to that, you just have to change your mindset. If you change your mindset, you be well on the way to pass it. I'm not saying you're going to pass next time, but if you change your mindset, it will set you a long way to passing the next time. But if you go in there with the same mindset as in twist, ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. And that tram question, one that you typed in, and I'm glad you did that as well, just shows it's not going to happen. Because like I said, you're looking for an answer, but you say you know it's the answer. But if you know it's the answer and it's not there, that's when you start to struggle. And that's for anyone. That's what I'm saying. Once you memorize the answer where it should be, if it's not there, then you're lost. Sorry, 11A, can't multitask. Yeah, again, I mentioned earlier on, the theory and real life doesn't tally. For your theory test answer, it's going to be 30 miles an hour street lights. In real life, when you're taking your driving test, do not go looking for street lights and do 30 miles an hour, because some boroughs are going to have to 20 miles an hour, so you can have street lights and it's 20 miles an hour. If you follow the theory test rule in real life, you could be doing 30 in a 20 zone, which means that's your driving test failed all day long if you're doing 30, 10 miles an hour over. So in real life, you're looking for speed limit signs. For the theory test, they are doing street lights. Sorry, this is number 12. I'm going to have to move it up so you can see the answers. What should you do when you see this sign at a crossroads? I'm going to move it up so you can see. So this is number 12. You don't have permission to access that page. Please, could you help me with this when you get a chance? I have no idea what you're talking about. What page are you trying to access? I have no idea. You've got to give me a bit more information than that. I don't know what you're talking about. If you let me know what you're talking about. You don't have access to a page. Please. First of all, I'm not even gonna. I don't know what you're talking about when you say that. So please give me some background information on that. What page are you trying to access? What page do I have access to that I can help you with? Yeah, sorry. Give me some information. Hi, Dawn. I hope you're well. Jordan, I am well, thank you. I hope you are. I passed the test 2 weeks ago in Southend. Sorry, say this again. Hi, Dawn. My test 2 weeks ago. So you passed it 2 weeks ago in Southend. Congratulations on passing. I had to retake as I couldn't do a test within 2 years. Oh, right, I'm with you. So you couldn't get a driving test within 2 years. This is why I say as soon as you pass the theory test, if you can do driving and theory side by side, even better. But don't sit on it because 2 years passes quickly. No, is the answer. Do you think they should extend the pass? No. I'll tell you why. It's similar to what I said earlier on. I don't know if you was here. The theory test gets updated every 2 years. So your knowledge is slightly out of date. Maybe not by much, but it's still out of date. When someone passes their theory test, they never pick up another driving book again unless they're going to study for become a bus driver, lorry driver, driving instructor. You don't pick up a theory test book again. So if your knowledge is weak, it's going to get weaker and weaker over the years of driving. If you you guys can test this out. If you got family members, friends who've passed their driving test quite a while ago, put some of these questions to them, and I guarantee you, or give them a mock test. If they've got time to sit and do a mock test, get a mock test. I guarantee you about 85 to 90% will not pass the mock test because their theory is outdated, and that's the reason why. So it's harsh, but no, I don't think it should be extended because, like I said, the knowledge gets outdated. You have got 2 years. And in some cases, the waiting time is really long, and that's unfair. But it's the way it is. We're talking about safety here on the main roads, and knowledge plays a massive part of that. But well done for going around. Just don't wait another 2 years. Just go and get your license now. And driving in Southend's got to be nice as well because the weather's decent as well. So taking driving lessons this time of year in Southend's got to be good, surely. Probably busy with people visiting, but it's got to be good. All right. Got A here. Let me put this up because before I move on, Maxwell, please could you explain the meaning of this sign? I'm assuming you mean the one that's on screen. As traffic light's not working, the line's crossed out. The red line is crossed out, so it means traffic lights aren't working. They're dead. So let me just quickly do this because you guys is D. Carry on with great care. So if it's a crossroads, it's because it says what should you do when you see this sign at a crossroads. So crossroads is 4 ways. So you've got traffic coming from all 4 directions, and traffic lights controls that. If the traffic lights are not working, then there's no rules. It's everybody for themselves. That's why it says carry on with great care with that one. Oh, hand signals. Someone was talking about hand signals. There we go. Which arm signal tells you that the car you're following is going to pull up? I mentioned that. So for those of you that was here, see if you can remember it. Yeah, from not yesterday, May the 12th, only students can book their own driving test. Now, driving instructors and these companies that was buying up all the test slots can't do that anymore. So only you guys can book your own driving test. But if you're going to book your driving test and you've got an instructor, you need the instructor number so it doesn't clash with anything else they've got. Because if you go off and book a test and they've already got a test, or they're not working those hours, they're not going to take you. So if you're going to book your own test and you've got an instructor, use your instructor's ADI number, which they will give it to you, and whatever test you book, it means they're free to do that test. That's the room I'm hearing. Let me come back to that, Jay. That's the room I'm hearing. Someone told me there's a long wait period for. Yeah, that's common knowledge. That's worldwide. I don't know who told you that. You should be hearing it on the news, everywhere, papers, newspapers, everywhere. It's a 6 months, 4 to 6 months waiting time. So yeah, that's common knowledge, and that relates to let me go back to what Jay's comment says. Is it true from October 2026 it would take up to 6 months? It's taking that now. But let me try to word this properly. The DVSA is no guarantee. That's the rumour, October. I've heard that a lot. I've not heard anything from the DVSA. I'm a driving instructor and we get our guidance from the DVSA, who set the driving test and the rules and everything else. Right, so let me explain. At the moment, they're doing a consultation. And the consultation is that once you pass the theory test, they're going to want you to do a set amount of hours first, and it has to be signed off by a driving instructor. You can't just say, I did it. You have to be signed off by a driving instructor saying you're doing a set amount of hours. They haven't declared how much hours that is. And then it's going to be a set amount of time. So let's just say, for argument's sake, with this new rule that you can book the tests yourself, it's supposed to stop all the bots be able to pick up all these test dates. So more test dates should become available as time goes on. So if it goes back to the way it was before COVID, where you can get a test pretty much within 4 to 6 weeks, and you just passed your theory test with their new rules, you couldn't take that test in 4 to 6 weeks. You're going to have to do X amount of hours of driving first, and you may have to wait up to 6 months before you can even take a driving test. That's why I'm encouraging you guys to get in now before those rules change, because the last thing you want to do is, just again for argument's sake, because there's no set figure, they say you have to do 40 hours. Imagine that you're practicing driving already, right? As I said, you're doing your theory, you're driving, and you've done 25, 30 hours. This new rule comes in, you now have to do, you pass your theory test, you have to do 40 hours on top of what you did, and then you still have to wait 6 months. That doesn't make sense, and it's unfair. There'll probably be guidelines for that, but that's the extreme I'm giving you. That's what I'm saying to you now. While the old system's in place, do your theory now and get your driving done now. I'm not saying you're going to pass your driving test now, but at least get in the system so you're under the old rules and not the new rules. But I repeat, for Jay's benefit, these are the rumours. I'm hearing a lot of October 26. So there's no smoke without fire. I've not heard this officially from the DVSA, but obviously if people are talking about October, it's probably when it's going to be coming in. So just be aware that you may have to do a set amount of hours, and you may have to wait 6 months regardless of what date you could get. So get it done and dusted now while you can. What are we on? 13. All right, let's do this. See? Gotta be here. Right, just in season 2. All right. Which arm signals tells you that? Let's go. Which arm signal tells you that the car you're following is going to pull up on the left? Basically. Let me go back through what I said earlier on. This is turning left, circular motion. Hand sticking out, circular motion. Hand not moving at all is turning right. This one is slowing down. This is the one they use the most on the test, on the real test. Pulling up means parking up. You have to slow down to park up. So this is slowing, turning left, turning right, slowing down. That does not exist with that one. What does this white arrow on the road mean? So this arrow, always look at the image and then see what they're talking about. Oh, Kajabi. Okay, the reason why you can't access it, if that's what it's saying, your 30 days is up. So what you need to do is send an email in and make sure you send it to the right email, because you've got a student email. Send it to the student email to say you've lost access, and they give you access straight away, because remember it's 30 days at a time. And the other thing as well, I've not seen your name in the classes, so that's probably the reason why. We have a class today at 1 o'clock. Yeah, we've got a class today at 1 o'clock, so try to attend the class. If you send an email in, I'll get my words out. I'll action that today myself. So if you literally send an email in before 1 o'clock, I'll access that myself and get you back in, and then you can go in there, get the link for today's class at 1 o'clock and come and join the session and find out where you're at. So send the email in, I'll look at, but make sure you send it to the student email, not the public email. And I'll get that sorted out for you today and get you back in. Done that one, I think. That was the traffic lights. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much. Lovely sea view, sip of manic roads. Yeah, especially this time of year, because I used to go Southend a lot. Very nice, very scenic, but yeah, with the sun being out, people are going to go crazy, especially being bank holiday as well. But yeah, try and get it done and dusted now you got your theory test back. I've now moved my date for the 19th. Send an email with no response. You didn't send it. Well, I'm not going to say you didn't send it, because I can't say that. Well, I've not seen it. When did you send it? What email did you send it to? Because if you send it to the student email, gets responded, that's why you got your own email address. So every student that emails into that address, we action within 24 hours. So if you send it to the public email, I get literally 50 to 60 emails a day in that public one. So yours are going to go down, 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 down. Just make sure it's to the right email address. Um, 14. There was a C, I'm sure there was a C here as well, so you guys are going for D. Yeah, return to your solo road. So if you are going to overtake, again, with the images, you're going up. Always take my advice from images. You're going from bottom to top. So the lines opposite you are broken, which means you can overtake. So if you are going to overtake something that's moving slowly, get back to the left when safe to do so. What does this sign mean? So where can I study from your videos? YouTube. All my videos on YouTube. Every single one of them, even the live streams. I don't take them down. So YouTube do what they need to do. When this is finished, they process it. Make sure there's no content in it that shouldn't be there. And then they put it up there. I'll leave it up there. So my videos are on YouTube. I remember another question. Where can your car cause an obstruction? Lay-by upstairs parking. I can't remember the rest of the options. They can give you different options on the real test, but the common answer is normally in front of someone's driveway is a common answer. Maybe I don't understand. I'm going to come back to that one. Yummy. I'm going to call you Yummy. Yummy Yoms. Hopefully I'm saying it right. If I'm butchering your name, I apologise. Hi, Darren. I hope you're doing well. I passed my test 49. Missed it by 1. That magical 50 by 1. But congratulations, 60. Well done. Thank you for your videos. Help me understand a lot of topics. Bless. You are welcome. Thank you for coming to the live session. I've not seen your name before, so definitely thank you for coming to the live session. Let me know. Appreciate it. As I said, that's the common answer, but we've had other options. I can't tell you what it is because they can give you any options. A hazard, the answer you're looking for is where your car's going to be in instruction. That's the simplest way of putting it. So where your car shouldn't be, that's the answer you want to think. A lay-by is where your car should be because it's a lay-by. You said something about upstairs parking, which I don't understand. I think that's got to be a mistype. So it's wherever your car shouldn't be. That's the answer you want to go for. So if it's not supposed to be there legally, that's the obstruction. That's the answer you want to go. Again, like I said, it goes back to understanding. All you got to do is see the 4 options and say, out of the 4, my car shouldn't be in this place. That's the one you want to go for. The crossroads. Again, you're going up with the image, so you're starting from the bottom, going up. That's the main road, and then these side bits are the side roads. So it's crossroads. Triangles are warnings, just in case you didn't know. You're looking for somewhere to park at night. When may you park on the right-hand side of the road? Maybe I don't understand their English as opposed to your English. That's why I put it up there. As I said, you need to change the mindset. Yeah, so it's just the teacher in me. When you say something like, I know you don't mean it that way, but it comes across as an excuse. I don't understand the English. The correct answer is the correct answer in any language. You need to understand what the safest option is, and that's going to be, again, I repeat, you're picking an answer that you've seen, and when they word it differently, it's either the twisted questions. Now you don't understand the English. If you understand it, it doesn't make a difference how it's written. You understand it, and that's when it comes down to. But like I said, I'm not picking on you. I just want you to pass, but you have to change your mindset. Conversation. It's very difficult because I know you're typing it, and this is for all of you. You're typing in certain things, and I'm reading it, and I can't read in between the lines. But as I said, when I'm teaching students, especially when it's in the study camp, because it's on Zoom and we talk, I can pick up on certain things you say. So, like I said, again, this comes from experience of teaching students to drive and teaching students to pass their theory. There's certain things you guys say, you don't understand it because you don't realize it. There's certain things you say which is holding you back. And I repeat, the twist of the question was one of them, and now with this English thing is another thing. You're putting obstacles in your way. If you want to pass the next time round, you need to change the mindset and just understand the question. You're going to pass. It doesn't make a difference whether English is not the first language, it's not the second language. If it's English is not your first language, it just means you're going to have to put more work in. But from the interaction we're having on, like I don't know you, but the interaction, it's just a mindset thing. It doesn't sound like your knowledge is bad. It's just like your mindset is, oh, I got it wrong. So they twist the question, oh, I got it wrong, I don't understand English. Hold on, is the problem their wording or is the problem you? That's how you have to look at it. And at this point in time, the wording ain't changing. So there's something that's got to change, and the only thing that can change is you. But if you want my advice, change the mindset, and you stand a better chance of passing next time round. But have the same mindset, it ain't gonna happen. So take my advice, just change the mindset. Just say, you know what, I'm going to understand it. Read the questions, understand the questions, understand different possibilities, different permutations. And if you take my advice, you have a better chance of getting it the next time around. You don't want to be taking it 5 or 6 times. 16, because you said you're already scared to take it the 4th time. Then let's remove the fear by just changing the mindset. And I repeat, with most of you, it's a mindset thing. It's not because of lack of understanding. It is a lack of understanding, but it's a mindset. Sometimes you guys are so focused on, oh, I'm going to do it this way. Maybe your way is not the correct way, especially if you've done it 2 or 3 times. There's a reason why you're doing it 2 or 3 times. You need to find that reason why didn't go well 2 to 3 times before and change. If you're doing the same thing over and over and it's not producing the results, how can the result change if you're doing the same thing? It doesn't make sense. There's A's and D's on this, so there's got to be, you guys don't understand it. You're looking for somewhere to park at night. When may you park on the right hand side of the roads? A, you're in a one-way street. And then D, yeah, this is common. Right, you're looking for somewhere to park at night, so it's night time. When may you park on the right hand side of the road? You should always go with the flow of traffic. It's one way, so everybody's going in the same direction, which is up, so you can park on the left or the right. This answer is standard. You should always park more than 10 meters away, but just because you park 10 meters away on a 2-way road doesn't make you legal. Parking 10 meters away makes you legal, but if you're on the wrong side of the road, it's a 2-way road, park on the right, you're illegal. So to be legal, you park more than 10 meters away from a junction, but on the 1-way road, you can park left or right. That's the reason why. But this is common. Everyone goes for 10 meters. Doesn't make you legal in a 1-way road. So it doesn't make you legal in a 2-way road. What does this sign mean? Previously sent to help and support, but just sent it now to driving. Don't know what you mean by that. I'll previously sent to help and support. Anyway, if you send it to the right email address, as soon as this live finished, I'll go in there and I'll give you access. But the reason why you need to email in, because I need to see the email address that you signed up with, so I can go into your account and reset it. But I repeat, I monitor the account on a regular basis, and I've not seen anything from yourself. Um, 17. Are you guys going for D? Yeah, it is. I don't know why I went blank then, yeah. I'm going to move it up so you can see option D, C in a minute. But this is question 18. 18. You're driving in the right-hand lane of a dual carriageway. What should you do if you see a sign showing that the right-hand lane is closing 800 yards? So I'm just going to move it up so you can see. Option C. It's number 18. So, yeah, all you got to do, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're going to change your mind and you're going to guarantee the pass. What I'm saying is you need to change the mindset so the brain's open to understand there's other options. Your mind's closed. You've seen, again, that tram question, and I like the way you type that in because it's actually helping me to understand you, and you're getting a bit more information than you would have done if you didn't type it in, for example. The tram question, like the word that you use, I know the answer. but that option wasn't there, which means you didn't know the answer, you just recognise the answer. And that's what I mean by being open-minded. There's other options, and if you understand that, you have a better chance of passing. But if your mind is closed, that's the answer, I know that's the answer, you're not looking for nothing else, you're not going to pass. Because like I said, when the option that you think should be there is not there, the brain is now lost. That's what I mean by changing the mindset. Be open, there's other options. And the only way to get to the other options is to understand what they are looking for, not just what they give you on their app. And like I said, if you see when I'm doing the questions here, I give you a bit more background information, understanding. And that's all I'm trying to say. But you have to change that first to be open to receive more information. But if the brain is closed off, then it ain't going to happen. I've seen it too many times. And if you're getting 50 out of 50 on your mock test, your memory is good because you're memorizing all 50 answers basically. So it's a lot of changing to be done, but you're capable of doing it, and that's the most important thing. But you need to do it rather than later. Please suggest any tips to remember overall stop and distance for different speed limits. Questions found in safety margin sections of old theory test books. There's a formula which I can't give you because it's visual. But the good news is you don't need to know all that formulas anymore because they're taking it out of the theory tests. Back in the day, 30 miles an hour was 75 feet. It's 2.5, and then the next one's 3.5, blah, blah, blah. But you don't need to know it. All you need to know is driving at 30 miles an hour or less is a safe distance. If they ask you that question, how should you drive 30 miles an hour or less? It's a safe distance. Driving at 40 miles an hour or more, it's dry, 2-second gap. If it's wet, 40 miles an hour or more, it's 4 seconds or double. They can read it either way. And ice and snow, driving at 40 miles an hour or more, is up to 10 times longer. So 2 seconds, 4 seconds or double, 10 times longer. And safe distances are ones you need to know. The 30, 40s and all the rest of it, you don't need to know that anymore. I'm not saying don't study it, but you don't need it for the theory test. But the formula I can't give you, it's visual, so I do need to show you on screen for you to take that in. What are we on, 18? Right, here we go. Miss Lady, welcome. I've not seen you now before, I don't think so. Hold on, just for the next time, could you increase the volume on your end, please? My volume's been set. I don't even change my volume, and it's peaking at where it should be. And nobody else has made a comment on the volume. If there's an issue with the volume, please let me know. But my volume, I don't set it, set and forget it. And it's going that nice. So I'm going to assume it's on your end. If only one person says it, it's on their end. If 3 or 4 people are saying it, then I'll consider it. But I've not changed my volume in God knows how many months. It's the same volume I use for the live stream, the same volumes I would use when I'm recording, the same volume I use when I do Zoom. But I could be wrong because I can hear what I can hear in my headphones and I can see what is going out on the screen. So if it is low, please let me know from other students. But he's very clear, I can hear him. There you go. Yes, he's very clear, I can hear him, but 2 volume is a little bit below. As I said, if it's only one person, it's on your end, but this is the same volume setting I use for everything I do. I don't change it. So it's got to be on your end. Do you get your results straight away after? Yes. As soon as you finish the HAS perception, it finishes. It starts to print the paperwork. Once you get to the reception desk, they confirm who you are, because obviously there's X amount of you in there. And then they give you your paperwork. They should give it to you face down. And then as you're walking out, you flip it over, look for your name near the top. and underneath it should say congratulations. If it says that, you've nailed it. Keep that paperwork because your pass certificate number's on there. You need it to book your driving test. If it says I'm sorry, then you know you failed it. Still keep the paperwork because now it will break it down of how you failed. So if it's the questions, it will tell you the categories of questions you got wrong, and the amount. So if it's road signs to road attitude free, whatever it happens to be, it gives you a breakdown. If it's hazard perception, it gives you a breakdown how many 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s, 0s, and how much you scored on your double. So now you've got data to know where to start studying again from. So let me just start. It goes 18. Yeah, so they're all saying I can hear you, it's clear on my side, the volume is okay. Yeah, so when one person says it, it normally means whatever you're listening on is on your end, unfortunately. But when 3 or 4 people, then it's on my end. But like I said, 18, sorry, I'm just trying to find what you're going for. 18B, move to the left in good time. Take note as well, let me just show you this. Because when you guys go for the real test, some of you still skim read. And this says move to the left immediately. This says move to the left in good time. It almost sounds like the same answer. Immediately suggests there's no safety checks. You literally see the problem, you're moving to the left, no safety checks. This says move to the left in good time. You're doing safety checks. That's what this technically means. So like I said, these two look similar, but if you skim read, you tend to go for this one when you're nervous. And that's the reason why I say read the questions carefully, read the answers carefully. This is in good time when it's safe. There's a lot of signs here. What does this sign mean? Number 19, I'm going to move it up slightly. So number 19, what does this sign mean? A lot of students have technically, can't get my words out today, struggle with this sign, especially in the study camp when we go through it on Tuesday and we do road signs Tuesdays. A lot of students struggle with this for some reason. Also, if you finish your test early, can you go back and reread the question or has perception? If you, with the questions, yes, that's right. Let me just be careful with this. Again, you know you, right? This is for all of you, but Lady Deb's asked the question. You know you. In the study camp, when we finish on the Thursday, some of them have their test on the Friday because I still teach the intensive driving course students. So they come in, do the training over 4 days, and they take their test on Friday. And I say to them, I'm not a big fan of this, and this is why. I would not go back to number 1 and read my answers from number 1 back to number 50. The reason why, when you finish the test, if the brain's got too much time to think, it starts to second guess itself. So what can happen is you change right answers to wrong answers because you're second guessing yourself and your score becomes lower than what it should be. In some cases you fail because you change right answers to wrong answers. What I suggest you do is read the question, obviously read the answer. If you're not happy with the answer because you got a doubt, flag it. You still answer it and you flag it. And then what you do when the 50th questions is finished, it's going to take you back to just the flagged ones, and that's your lot. So if you're not flagging it, it should mean that you're happy with the answer. So I don't see the point in going back to number 1 and double checking. But I repeat, you know you. If you think you're going to be disciplined to read it and be happy with it, fine. If you feel that you're going to read it and start second guessing yourself, then I wouldn't be doing it. But like I said, you have to do you. Just go back to the flagged ones and you're laughing. But if you're going back to number 1, double checking, your brain's going to start playing tricks on you and picking stuff that it doesn't need to be. So to answer your question, if you finish the test early, you can go back and reread as many times as you want until you click finish on the questions. Has the perception, you can't. You get one go only. The video shows once. Once that video's gone, it's gone. and then when it gets to the 14th one, it finishes automatically. I don't remember what 17 was. Like I said, if you guys are going to type these type of questions, you need to type it in early so I can see it related to number 17. I don't remember what 17 was. And I can't go back. If you remind what the question is, I can probably give you the answer with that. But I don't remember what 17 was. Tony Cunningham, watching the videos helped me pass my theory test and now I pass my job. Wow, first time as well. Congratulations to you, passed your theory test and driving. Well done. Just a quick question. How long did it take to pass your driving test after you passed your theory? Roughly timescale. I'd be interested to know that. But yeah, well done. Thank you for coming to let me know. So now you're a driver, drive safely. 2-year probation. Don't do anything silly. 19. Congratulations though. And like I said, when you guys pass it, just get on with your driving. Just become a driver. Even if you're not going to get a car or anything, you just sit on it and then your 2 years is still ticking. You don't have to be driving for 2 years for your probation to be ticking. Your probation starts once you pass your driving test. If you don't drive for 2 years, you've got no chance of losing a license. And when you go to driving, let's say you didn't drive for 2 years, for example, you can get refresher lessons. A lot of people don't realize you can go and get refresher, just refresh the skills from a driving instructor. You don't have to go in cold. Got a C there. Oh, change your answer. That's all right. Flagged it. $5 months. Yeah, that's about the going rate. 4 to 6 months. So at least you did it. That's the most important thing as well. And it's first time. Well done. What area did you take it in? Just want to know what area you guys took your test in. 19B. Two-way traffic straight ahead. Again, if you take my advice with your images, always go from bottom to top. It makes it easier to understand images. So if you're going from the bottom, you're going up on the left because you drive on the left. The arrow's coming down. That's where it's two-way traffic straight ahead. I think it was Shadat, but most students go for C. Two-way traffic crosses a one-way road. So you'll be going up and the traffic is crossing the path. But a lot of students get confused with this one. What's the purpose of road humps, chicanes and narrowings, otherwise known as traffic calming measures? Any advice for the practical tests? Are we talking about booking it or are we talking about taking it? The only advice I can give for the practical test that I give my students is the night before the test, do what comes normal. A lot of students tend to want to go to bed earlier than normal. If your body is used to getting 7 hours sleep, it wants 7 hours sleep. If you go to bed early and give it 9-10 hours, it's gonna mess the chemistry up. If you normally have breakfast in the morning, have breakfast, have something to eat in the morning. As nervous as you are, you may not feel like eating, but have something to eat. If you don't have breakfast, then don't have breakfast. You want your body chemistry to be the same as it always has been. Never change of it. Do not drink caffeine if you're not a caffeine drinker. A lot of people say, oh, my friend says drink Red Bull and do this. No, if you don't drink caffeine, do not start drinking caffeine. It's mess up your body chemistry. On the day of the test itself, stay calm as possible. I know it's easier said than done. Take deep breaths. When the examiner says park up on the left, somewhere safe and convenient, park up on the left. Always go handbrake neutral, handbrake park if you're doing automatic, and take a time out. And when he says to you drive on, take deep breaths, get yourself set, and then go from do. Don't hear drive now. He didn't say that. He said drive on when you're ready. It is when you're ready. Take your time, ask yourself what he's looking for, which is a blind spots, and then go off from there. If you think you've made a mistake, let it go as soon as possible. You can't hang on to it. You may have made a mistake, but it doesn't mean that you failed your driving test. If you start to dwell on it, you're going to make mistakes because your brain's thinking about the mistake and not taking in the new information that's coming your way. Those are the basic guidelines that I give my students, but it starts with the preparation the night before. Like I said, I go deep when I'm teaching. I go into the mindset, because the mindset is the key to passing anything and everything. So yeah, don't change anything the night before. It's just another day. Nervous, yes, but don't change anything. If you're talking about booking a test, that's something different. I've got no information on that, because everybody's doing the same thing and the waiting time is just long. And we're on number 20. Oh, Durham. Thank you for popping on. Appreciate it. It's nice to know that you've taken the ferry and the driving and actually qualified. Hopefully that inspires everybody on here, because I've been saying, take your ferry, driving along this together. Once you pass your ferry, boom, go and get your license. And done it within 5 months, I think it was. Brilliant. And this is what I'm saying. 2 years seemed like a long time. He passed first time 5 years. Passed first time 5 years. He passed first time 5 months. Now, if he failed it, you're now looking at another 5 months. That's almost a year gone just trying to book a test, not to pass it. So, as I'm saying, you don't know if you're going to pass first time. So you really want to get on it. Because if you don't pass first time, you've got to factor in it's going to take you another 4 to 6 months to book another test based on the waiting times already. I've answered this question already. I can't recommend manual automatic because everyone's different. You got to decide what's best for you. If you're not sure, take an automatic lesson, then take a manual lesson and see which one you're comfortable with. But I can't advise that, because driving is a personal thing. It's not a general thing. Please, can you confirm? I'm live on YouTube. How can I confirm I'm live on YouTube? Am I supposed to drop this and go into my email to check to see if you've... I'll check it straight after we finish this. I can't confirm. Right, sorry, you guys are gone for B. Yeah, these are traffic calming measures. Road humps, chicanes, narrowings, tight spaces is where you want to reduce your speed with that. So as I mentioned earlier on, the test is made up of 14 different categories, and let me just move this across a bit so you can see. There's not a lot of categories here because there's a lot of road signs. Attitude, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's probably the least amount of categories we had for a long time. But you've got 8 different categories here on the 20 question mock test. And road signs, we had a lot of 8 road signs. So if I was weak on my road signs at my 50 questions and they gave me 8 road signs, that's 8 possible wrong answers I can give if I was weak. I'm now down to 42, so I'm already failed on one category alone. And this is why I say do individual categories to make sure you're on point, because you don't know how your test is going to be made out. So whereas got 8 here, on another test we may get 2 road signs, and that's the reason why you do the categories individually first before even thinking about going for a mock test. That's the best way to study. All right, so what I'm going to do now is hazard perception. I'll just get my put out. So a hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. So if you think you need to use the brake or check your mirrors, then sorry, just saw something I shouldn't. Anyway, shit, iPad would help. Unplug that, try again. Here you go. Right, so let me just quickly add into this, because I keep stressing that you need your ferry for your driving. Driving helps the ferry. So we had 8 traffic signs. So if you look at box 17, that's where the box has been marking on your driving test if you didn't know your road signs. Road markings, remember we had the hazard lines, so road markings. We had traffic lights, flashing pelican crossing there. So I said to you guys with the pelican, if it's flashing amber and there's nobody there, you can go. So it could get marked there, or undue hesitation. Number 20 is what I mentioned there. If you look at box 20, undue hesitation, I put 2 marks in there. We had hand signals. So you can get hand signals from other road users and traffic controllers. So that's, you know, when they show you the flat palm version or the flat backhand, you can go into there. Position normal stops. So we had the question about when can you park on the right hand side of the road, the one-way street. So if you didn't know all of that on your driving test, it could be marked there. Pedestrian crossings, your pelicans and puffins. Position normal driving, always stay left. So you can see those are the bits and pieces where it would go into. But your hazard perception is your mirror section. So box 14, a massive section. Before you signal, check your mirrors before you signal, check your mirrors before changing direction, and check your mirrors before changing speed. So you can see how your theory all ties in to your driving. And when you're driving the car, remember it's about control and safety. On the left hand side of the sheet, I said to you the driving test is control, safety. So for those of you doing manual, you would have the clutch to worry about, gas, gears, foot brake, hand brake, and steering wheel. So he's watching and feeling how you control the car when you're driving. That's the left hand side control. Safety is the middle section and the right hand section. But hazard perception is box 14. They don't worry about the signaling because you can't see the signal on the videos, but they worry about you changing direction, check your mirrors before, change the speed. If you're slowing down, check your mirrors before slowing down. That's what it is. Go for 2 clicks, see the problem, click once, 1, 2, and then click again. They say on the video, this is why I said don't watch their video, they say earlier you see the problem and click the most amount of scores you're going to get. If you click too early, you get a 0. And that's how people fail, because they do what the video said. Oh, I clicked early, I saw the problem, so how come I got a 0? They don't tell you it has to be within the countdown window. And you bypass the countdown window by clicking twice. Let me come out of this so you can see it. So you bypass the countdown window by clicking twice. You click once when you see the problem, 1, 2, and click again. That way, if the first click is too early, the second one will land in the 5 or the 4. If the first click landed in the 5, then the second one's going to land in the 3 or the 2, but they give you the highest mark. So there's no benefit in clicking once, because if you do what they said, click once and you got a 0, you now got a 0 for that video. You got to find 5 more marks to make up over the next 13 videos. And that's a hard thing to do. It's possible, but it's hard. So easy thing to do, click twice. You should get a minimum of 3 every video. And if that's the case, you're going to pass. Scrape it, but you're going to pass, which is better than 42 or 41. Right, let me just make sure there's no comments on that so I can address it before I go into the videos. My new job requires me to drive and I need to get earlier practical test date. What can I do? There isn't nothing you can do with the new rules now. The only way around that would have been to buy from the scammers, which means you're going to pay an arm and a leg. But the DVSA are clamping down on people buying driving tests because they're suspending people's license if they're found buying driving tests now. There isn't a way around it, unfortunately. The only thing I can suggest, but everybody's doing it, is to get up tomorrow morning, Monday. It's bank holiday as well, so I'm not even sure they're going to do that. But anyway, Monday morning, 5 to 6, 10 to 6, 5 to 6, log online, DVSA website, 6 a.m. in the morning, they release new test days. So every Monday, 6 a.m. they release new test days, but everybody's doing it and picking up test days. You may be lucky and be able to get in there, so you may need to do it over 3, 4, 5 Mondays. But that's the only way around it at this point in time. If you buy a driving test date from the scammers and the DVSA find out, they can suspend your license. They're clamping down on that as well. So be very, very careful. But I wish you luck with that. Like I said, it's unfair, but there's nothing you can do about that. Please, Durham, what's the essence of this form? This is driving test report sheet. On the driving test day, examiner has this on his lap. So they've gone to iPads. So it's got on the lap. Every mistake you make gets logged on this. And this determines whether you pass or fail. You're allowed 15 minors or less on your driving test, and no S's or D's. S is serious, D is dangerous. If you get one S, one D, your driving test is over. And they give you a copy of this. It's similar to, if you think about of your theory test, when you finish your theory test, you get feedback. Whether Siri just kicked in, whether or not you pass your theory or not, they give you a breakdown of the questions you got, the category that you got wrong, and your hazard perception, how many fives or fours. It's the same as this. This gives you a breakdown of your driving test of what mistakes you made and where you made it. It's feedback. Any test you take, you should be getting feedback from it, because you still learn. Pass or fail, you learn from it. So that's what this is. You don't need to know it as a learner. I'm just showing you how it ties in with your driving test. Because every time I say someone, you need it for your driving test, they think, but I just want to pass, I just want to pass. As I say, understand the theory, you're passing it anyway. And when you're driving, this knowledge is going to be a lot stronger, because you now know how it all ties in and relates. And it makes your theory test stronger if you actually see the reason behind it. Like I said, it's all about mindset. The more information that you can give the minds to be positive, the more information it's going to want to take in. If you just look at it as trivial, I just need to pass, there's no incentive. I tend to hold on to the mistakes of mock tests. Any suggestions? Let it go. There isn't. Everybody's different. I got students who do that. Just hold on. And as a driving instructor, I say to them, let it go, let it go. It gets better over time. You have to try and find a way of letting it go. But there isn't no magic wand with that. Like I said, you're no different from anybody else. You hold on to those mistakes. And it's not a good thing, because you still need to get from A to B. You made a mistake, you can't change it. So that's why I say to my students, don't worry about it. You can't change it now. Let's have that discussion when we pull up on the left, but don't have that discussion when the car's in motion. Let's focus, get back on it. But it gets easier if you try it, like I said, but it's not easy to get started, if that makes sense. So there's no magic rule, but you're not alone with that. Just remember that. Thank you, Dawn, for your channel. It's really helped me significantly. Wow, well done. I'm passing on the 9th of May. Thank you for coming to the session. Let me know. Thanks a million. You're welcome. All right, thank you for the form. Yeah, like I said, the form is, I'm here to give you guys as much information to take in to help you pass. And if you relate to your driving, in my experience with the students, we relate to your driving, and it gives you a more positive incentive to study harder for the theory, because it makes this form easier when test day comes. Right, all your driving lessons. Has perception. Right, you got two types of clips on your when you're practicing them. Get rid of this so you can see the flags. Real life and CGI. CGI's, when you go for the real test, it's all CGI test. The crystal clear, bigger screen, marking and score is on point. Real life clips, when you do it at home, hard to see hazards. So if you're getting low scores, it doesn't mean that you're clicking badly. Sometimes it's just hard to see. That's just life. But CGI's is where your score should be on point. So I'm going to try and find one with no stars. This one's clip 60's got no stars. So I'm seeing it on the first times. So when you're doing the videos, when you're watching the videos, always scan from left to right, right to left, because road signs are on the pavement. So I've just gone from left lane to right hand lane. There's a reason why, for some reason. The coach has got brake lights on, the hazard lights on, indicators on. I'm going to click again. And now he's changing lanes and clicking again. So I'm assuming that was the problem, but keep going because you never know. If it's a double, the van's broken down. I've definitely not seen this clip. Again, keep scanning the road because you just never know. 4 out of 5. Always look to see if you can improve. So I'm just going to speed up for the sake of the video, just click there. So I'm going to pause it when I first clicked and tell you why. So if you look between the cars, there's brake lights. That's what I first saw as a brake light. I could have seen it earlier. There's brake lights from him. So if he's slowing down, there's a reason why. So I check my mirrors just in case I need to slow down. That's why I've clicked. There's my first one. And there's my second one. And then as we go further down, I clicked again because it's now got an indicator on us. This one is for brake lights. Let me break it down for you. That's brake lights I'm seeing. That's one problem. And now I'm seeing indicator. So it's a different problem. That's why I click there. And now it's changing lanes. So as you can see, the bus is going to the middle of the road or to the white line. So now it's changed lanes. I'll click again. 3 different problems, 3 different clicks. You can't use one click for all 3 problems. There's 3 different mirror checks. So that's the reason why I've got 6 flags on there. Right, let me just double check to make sure there's no comments on that before we move on. No, there isn't. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys all understood that. So let me do CGI, final no stars. Let's go no stars. Okay, let's do that. Again, always scan the road. They're well ahead. Left to right, right to left. That's how you should be driving in real life as well. Not just watching straight. There's a bend. I can't see around the bend, so I'm going to click for that. Again, I can't see nothing going on. Is there animals on the right? I'm going to click something's moving. I'll go again. Again, assuming that's the problem. But keep going because you never know if it's your double. There's another bend I can't see. Always go slowly into the bend, accelerate out. This is for driving lessons as well. So if I'm slowing down, I should be checking mirrors. You should never go fast into a bend. I get 3 out of 5, so there's definitely improvement on that. So I'm going to speed it up because all the clicks beforehand was red herrings. Oh, look, 2 clicks and both of them slightly too early. That one's there. That one's there. So I've seen the animal. This is what I'm saying about watching their video because they say click early. The earlier you see it, the more marks you get. So I've clicked early on this one and I got a 0. But because I go for 2 clicks per problem, it doesn't matter to me, to be fair. So let me just rewind that back so you can see it. I saw something to the right. I couldn't work out what it was, so I've clicked. And the second one is just before the 5. Now the problem's starting to move, so I click again. And there's my click. 2 different problems. Problem on the side, I didn't know what it was, I clicked. And then when the problem starts to move, I click again. That's how you almost guarantee to pass. If you just do what they say, problem, click early, you could end up with a 0. And your average has to be 3, so I'm happy with that. With a 3 on that one, if I'm averaging 3, I'm going to pass it. Scrape it, but I'm going to pass. A pass is a pass, end of the day. But if you're doing 1 click per video or 2 clicks just for X amount of problems, you run the risk of getting a fail on it. And that's the reason why 2 clicks per problem. Right, there's no comments on that. So I'm assuming you guys are all happy with that. Let's double check that. Right, yeah, there's no comments on that. It has the perception, so I'm assuming you guys are totally happy with it. I want to thank you guys for today, bank holiday weekend, giving the time up. So I appreciate that because we've gone longer than you normal. So that tells you, from my point of view, is entertaining and enjoyable because we had to cover quite a few points. It wasn't covering a few points, it's more emphasizing mindset, and it was from Shadat TV, which is a good example. Her typing in the question about the trams, like I said, gave her insight to how she's thinking, which is nice. This is why the live sessions, I go live for things like that, because if we didn't have that interaction, I couldn't tell her it's a mindset issue, not a question issue. Once she changes her mindset, she's on the way to passing now. So that's what it's about. Just be open-minded to accept different options of answers and make sure you understand it, and that will make you see different options. Whereas if you're just closed-minded, that's the way it is. Or twisting the question, which she used as well, another good example. The chance it's going to lead to failure. That's the way it comes down to, for the majority of people. That's why they say it takes 3.3 attempts to take a theory test. And it's because of a mindset thing. But no, thank you for today. I appreciate it. Hopefully it's sunny where you guys are. Whatever you decide to do over the weekend, bank holiday, enjoy. But most importantly, stay safe. And I shall see you next Sunday. For those of you in the study camp, I shall see you in about 40 minutes for our study session. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your day. I'll see you next week. Stay safe.